Welcome. My name is Preston Bryant, and I have the privilege of serving as chair of the National Capital Planning Commission. And so welcome to tonight's very exciting discussion and these very good panelists. Before we get started, I would hope that you would check your BlackBerries and cell phones and silence them if you would, especially because we're streaming tonight. We're streaming live, and so and we're also going to create a podcast for this, and so in the next week or two, check back to the NCPC website, and you will be able to get the podcast and the presentations and all that goes with that. First, a bit about NCPC. The National Capital Planning Commission is the central planning agency for the federal government in this area. We are the central planners for all federal lands and buildings in the district, in suburban Maryland, and in northern Virginia. When I say all federal lands and buildings, that's everything from the National Mall to the Smithsonian Galleries to memorials, monuments, and statues, to the White House, to DOD and many military installations in the National Capital Region, to Rock Creek Park and the zoo, and even the sewer system, so you name it, and we have it. We also have a very diverse commission. We have 12 members, and we are comprised of both federal and district representatives. And our staff is comprised of about 45 architects, engineers, planners, historic preservationists, and other professionals. And it is our privilege collectively to all work with the owners and tenants of all of these federal lands and buildings as we seek to plan them, to improve their infrastructure, all on behalf of the American people. We invited you here tonight to meet RIC, Regional Innovation Clusters. RICs build on a region's unique industry strengths and competitive advantages to develop innovative products that drive economic growth, create jobs and businesses and other opportunities, and we know that economic development and job creation are certainly central to regional and community planning. The Obama administration has embraced RICs to spur job creation, foster long-term economic development, and enhance America's ability to compete in the global marketplace. Regions across the country are successfully collaborating to maximize their competitive advantages and strengthen their local economy. And RICs, or Regional Innovation Clusters, are very much a part of all of that from different angles, including small business, from an angle of small business, from job creation, from education, and from workforce development, among others. You may also know RICs in our region if you are familiar with the Arlington area, and I'm sure you are, and how the defense industry has grown up around the Pentagon and other military installations in Virginia. That is a regional innovation cluster. If you're in Maryland, in the life sciences corridor, and you see how private sector companies and researchers have grown up around NIH and FDA and the CDC, once again, you know what I mean. These federal facilities have played critical roles in attracting private firms, spin-off companies, labs, all while fostering university partnerships and a uniquely skilled workforce and propelling other associated retail and housing developments. And all of this leads us to what we're here to talk about tonight, and that is the consolidation of the Department of Homeland Security in the St. Elizabeth's complex in southeastern D.C. We all know that this offers an extremely unique, perhaps once in a lifetime opportunity for a regional innovation cluster. The St. Elizabeth project, as you will hear tonight, is the single largest federal government construction project in the D.C. area since the Pentagon was built back in the early 40s. It's a $4 billion project, multi-year, multi-phased, and phase one is underway. Again, it represents a very unique opportunity. The state of Maryland, Arlington County, and Virginia, and the District of Columbia have each recognized the impact of the Homeland Security economy in their own communities. We have a terrific panel tonight that will share their local strategies to promote and sustain this industry. We'll also hear about the EDA-funded initiative to support these jurisdictional efforts with a broader regional strategy. I want to welcome our participants and partnering agencies to this evening. And it includes representatives from the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Commerce, Housing and Urban Development, the General Services Administration, and the District of Columbia. I'm also delighted tonight to have a partner who was critical to the work of the National Capital Planning Commission, and that is Dave Robertson, who is the Executive Director of the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments. Dave will lead the discussion with our panelists after their presentations, and he will be facilitating questions from the audience. Before we get started, I do want to call on now Carol Mitten, who is the Executive Director for Urban Affairs and Headquarters Consolidation at DHS, and she will say a few words about the importance of the St. Elizabeth's project. Carol.
Thank you, Preston. Good evening, everybody. I'm very excited to be here, and as Preston said, I'm Carol Mitten, and I'm here tonight representing the Department of Homeland Security. I'd like to give a very short overview of the St. Elizabeth's project and why the project is important to DHS and a few of the details of the project itself. And I believe you were handed a fact sheet as you came in, so I'm hoping that you have that to refer to as well. And then I'll turn the program over to our moderator. The department recently celebrated its 8th birthday, and we have made remarkable progress in our functional areas, those being preventing terrorism, securing our borders, enforcing our immigration laws, securing cyberspace, and ensuring resilience to disasters. From very early in the department's existence, the Secretary recognized the importance of consolidating our operations if we were to fulfill these very missions, and in order to enhance mission responsiveness and to operate more efficiently. Here in the National Capital Region, our largest commitment to consolidation is our relocation to St. Elizabeth's in Ward 8. The West Campus of St. Elizabeth's and a small portion of the East Campus, about 185 acres overall, will eventually house 14,000 DHS employees who will be consolidated from no fewer than 25 locations currently. The scattering of facilities is extremely inefficient and has hindered the mission integration that led to the formation of the department in the first place. Eventually, the department will be consolidated overall from more than 50 locations into 7 or 8. In addition to advancing our own mission, DHS is very excited about the collateral benefits that will accrue from the St. Elizabeth's relocation for our employees, for the Congress Heights and Anacostia neighborhoods, and for the extended communities that will benefit from realizing broader policy objectives related to historic preservation, economic development, and sustainable building practices. The total build-out of the West Campus will be 3.8 million square feet, with another 750,000 square feet on the East Campus. The budget for the project is $3.6 billion. The U.S. Coast Guard headquarters and support facilities comprise the first phase of the project. If our minimum FY 2011 appropriation comes through by May, the 1.2 million square foot Coast Guard headquarters will open on time in mid-2013. It's the building that you see under construction from 295, if you've happened to notice that. The building is on track to achieve LEED Gold certification and will include 5 acres of green roofs. The views, as you can imagine, are terrific. Phase 1 also consists of the preservation and rehabilitation of 6 historic buildings, including Hitchcock Hall as an auditorium and conference facility. Subsequent phases include the relocation of DHS headquarters and the National Operations Center, currently scheduled for 2014, the Federal Emergency Management Agency headquarters to the East Campus, currently scheduled for 2015, and remaining component occupancies, the Transportation Security Administration, Customs and Border Patrol, and Immigration and Customs Enforcement in 2016. Those are our official schedules at the moment. We at DHS recognize that we are an anchor for the redevelopment of St. Elizabeth's, and by extension, the Congress Heights neighborhood and the Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue corridor. But our presence is not simply a matter of if you build it, they will come. Rather, the effort that is underway by the District of Columbia, the U.S. Department of Commerce, and others to create a regional innovation cluster strategy for St. Elizabeth's is an attempt to harness the power of collaboration with DHS to create economic development opportunities for the region. It would now be my pleasure to introduce Dave Robertson, who, as you heard, is the Executive Director of the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments.
Good evening, everyone. There's going to be a little choreography that we'll describe in a little bit, but the panelists will largely speak from that podium, and I'll field questions from over here. But I was asked to provide a little bit of context for the discussion that you're going to hear, and we've got certainly a great panel of folks. I won't provide, as part of my role of moderator, a lot of lengthy introductions, but you do have very detailed biographies, and you can take it from me that we've got the right folks to talk about this very important issue. I think the region's not unused to big federal facilities. We know that they are really the lifeblood and really, in many cases, were the founding for this region. But it's astonishing, I think, to consider the size and scope of this project, and Carol touched on that a little bit. If this was a private sector enterprise locating the same square footage and employees and anywhere else, it would probably be front page news. But the fact that it's not getting perhaps the attention that it warrants is something that we hope to remedy this evening. We've heard from Carol at DHS that they're committed to this collaborative model, and certainly at the Council of Governments, that's really music to our ears. We want to figure out how we can leverage this tremendous opportunity to create economic development opportunities, certainly not just in the Ward 8 in the district. We think that's very, very important, but regionally, and that, again, is something that we're very interested in as well. Our region has a lot of examples of major federal facilities on business development, job creation, even in how and where we get around and where we live. Defense industry in Northern Virginia, we'll hear a little bit about that. Life sciences corridor in the I-270 area, and certainly BRAC issues figure prominently in that. Our panelists are going to talk about that. We hope we'll give them not a whole lot of time, about 7 minutes, but we're going to keep a lot of time for some questions and back and forth with you as the audience. But we're going to hear about some of the strategies that are in play right now, growing the Homeland Security economy at different scales, community, at the city or county, and certainly at the state and metropolitan level. The impact and opportunities around Homeland Security industry are happening at all these scales. St. E's is truly at the intersection of D.C., Maryland, Virginia. If you sort of drew a little dot where it is and put some little concentric circles around that, you would see that you would be touching and reaching all of our communities in the region. It can certainly help spur transit-oriented development in District and Prince George's counties. Community colleges and universities from across the region are already trying to train the next generation of Homeland Security workers, and certainly businesses will be interested in the benefits of locating close by where they can get access to those federal workers and the contracts that are likely to be generated by DHS. We think our region is well positioned to take advantage of this industry. It's a niche, a great opportunity for us. We certainly have, and I think we talk about this regionally a lot, a greatly educated workforce in our region. Good return in terms of bachelor's degrees and graduate and professional degrees. We have a high concentration of federal labs, and they spin off tremendous benefit to our region. But we don't want to make the spin-offs just the benefit of the highly educated. We need to make sure that St. E's and the work that goes on there and the spin-off effects really lift all of our communities and regions. We want to make sure that the job opportunities are widely shared. We're going to, in terms of our order of speakers, we're going to hear first from Barry Johnson, the Senior Advisor and Director of Strategic Initiatives at the Economic Development Administration. He's going to share how the Obama administration is encouraging regions, not just in this region, but around the country, to think strategically about how to build on their unique assets that they have. Different assets in different regions, obviously, but certainly of great value to their economic future. Barry will remind us that our competition is not just between and among jurisdictions. I when we talked as a panel, a little pre-interview discussions, I recalled the competition that we had around Hilton in some of the facilities, a relatively small number of jobs coming into our region and a lot of competition. We are seeing thousands of jobs come to the district and to our region, and we want to figure out how we can be very strategic in leveraging those resources. Following Mr. Johnson's comments, we've got great panels, I indicated, represented from the District of Columbia, Arlington, and Maryland will present their strategies on Homeland Security incubation. After each presentation, I'll maybe offer one little toss-out or prompting question, and then we'll open it up for questions between and among the panels, and then, since you've been such a good audience, we'll make sure that you have a chance to weigh in with your questions or comments as well. So with that, let's ask Mr. Barry Johnson from EDA to come to podium number 1. Thank you.